This video has 2.9 million views. This thumbnail is a girl's eyes. That's the entire thing. Literally just the eyes looking at you. And the video itself is a 2-hour music collage? By every rule you've ever been taught about YouTube, this video shouldn't exist. It shouldn't have been recommended. It shouldn't have even been clicked, and it definitely doesn't deserve 2.9 million views. But here we are. It's not really alone. The art of beginning anyway, the first video ever on a brand new channel, thumbnail looks like a quiet bookstore display, 500,000 views. Speaking like this gives you an unfair advantage on YouTube, and a guy on a hill talking to the camera with 165,000 views. This is on a channel with 20k subscribers. Clearly something has changed, but it's not the algorithm, it's the viewers. And if you're still designing thumbnails the old way, you are invisible to them. Why? Why is this happening? Simple. Your audience is bored. Think about it. You spent the last 5 years training them on fast cuts, high saturation, loud sound effects, red circles, blah, blah, blah. You've been in an arms race for their brain, the part of the brain that reacts to threat and surprise, and you won. You all got so good at hijacking it that now it's numb, overloaded. I have a personal story that made this click for me. There is a creator from my hometown I used to love. Her Instagram reels were incredible, fast, stylish, perfect cuts. I hadn't watched her in a while, and when I saw one recently, I couldn't even finish it. It physically hurt my brain. Visual freaking shouting. I was exhausted in 3 seconds. That's your audience right now. They don't hate you, they're just fatigued. So when they're scrolling and see another thumbnail screaming, "Look at me!" with a shock face and a giant arrow, it doesn't register as exciting anymore. But then they see this, a quiet, cinematic image, a portrait that feels like a film still, a layout with a breathing room and negative space. The brain does a double take. It's not being shouted at for once, it's being invited in. The defense mechanism comes down. This is the critical shift we're living through right now. The old model was loud and artificial, and its only intention was to force a click. The new model is cinematic and real. It signals this is a different kind of experience. It's thoughtful. It has an atmosphere. It's not a transaction. You're not just making a thumbnail anymore. You're sending a signal about the feeling of watching your video. And that creates a massive opportunity because 99% of creators are still shouting. When you start signaling instead, you stand out immediately. You look like you know something that they don't. You look authentic. Even if your video is just as produced, the stakes are very real. If you keep using 2021 tactics and you blend into the noise, you become invisible. Your CDR tanks because you look like everything else on the scroll. But if you understand this fatigue, you can exploit it. You can be the calm in the storm, and this is the most powerful click trigger there is right now. The evidence is everywhere once you see it. How to make cool shit that people actually love, the art of doing anything exceptionally well. Neither thumbnails explain what the video is about. Both feel like they were made for a completely different medium. That's not coincidence, dude. That's the new pattern. So what actually makes one of these thumbnails, well, work? First, let's kill a misconception. Authentic does not mean low quality. It doesn't mean you take a shaky screenshot of your talking head and call it a day. That's not authentic. That's just lazy. And lazy doesn't perform. In this context, cinematic means conceptually different. It means taking visual language from outside YouTube and bringing it onto the platform. Let's actually deconstruct the pain changes people title. Why did it work? There's no text telling you what you will learn. Just an evocative gaze. You feel something first. Melancholy, depth, quiet, curiosity. And that feeling is the hook. You click to match the mood. Cinematic framing. It looks like a still from an idol film or an album cover. The lighting is dramatic, the crop is intimate. This wasn't designed for a thumbnail. It was designed to convey a moment in time, negative space, and trust. It doesn't clutter the frame with explanation. It says, if this mood speaks to you, come on right in. That simplicity is a breath of fresh air in a feed of visual just freaking chaos. Or look at everything wants you when you want nothing. A radio playlist. Thumbnail looks like it came off the sleeve of an indie record label. Considered typography, intentional composition, room to breathe. No text promising a transformation. No conventional reason to click. But someone made 100 deliberate design decisions to create that feeling. That's not laziness. It's the opposite. Cinematic doesn't mean accidental, it means intentional in a different direction. Now compare both of those to a conventional thumbnail for say, a YouTuber downfall video, the creator in the middle looking sad, a tanking graph and bold text. It's a literal visual explanation of what you're about to watch. Now look at the thumbnail I did for NAS Daily. It looked like a political conspiracy poster, a vintage typography, grainy documentary texture, a headline treatment that felt like it came from a newspaper in 1977. No face, no graph. You are no longer designing a thumbnail. You are designing a poster for the experience of watching your video. A movie poster doesn't explain the plot. It just sells the vibe. The genre, the feeling, is it a thriller or a romance, a mind-bending drama? You know in a half a second, your thumbnail needs to do the same. Signal the experience before a single word of your title is read. This requires one real mindset shift. Stop asking what will get a click. Start asking what is the core emotional hook of my video and what image best represents that feeling. When you start there, you break free from the template. Let me walk you through the exact process I used for the NAS Daily documentary. The brief was simple, the downfall of NAS Daily. Now, if you search downfall of a YouTuber right now, you know exactly what you'll find. A creator in the middle, sad face, and a stock graph going down. It's a visual cliche. Your brain recognizes it and instantly files it under noise. So step 1 is non-negotiable. Close the YouTube tab. You cannot look at what other creators are doing. If you do, you'll only ever iterate on the past. You'll make a slightly better version of a boring thumbnail. You have to look completely outside. Step 2, the reference hunt. I opened Pinterest and searched for film posters, magazine layouts, vintage book covers, political campaign ads, anything carrying a tone of conspiracy or downfall, or any historical weight. I saved dozens. The goal isn't to copy them. It's to study the visual language that isn't native to YouTube. Step 3 would be concept matching. From the script itself, I pulled 4 to 5 emotional hooks. Conspiracy, exposure, downfall of an icon, the moment the truth comes out. Then I went through my saved references and asked, which of these feels like those words? Step 4, the brutal edit. You will fall in love with cool posters that have nothing to do with your video's core emotions. You have to scrap them. I had a stunning dark abstract poster saved, but it felt like a horror film, not a documentary expose. It didn't match the hook. Gone. The reference that clicked was a poster about the JFK assassination. Not because of the event, but because of the feeling. Conspiracy, a public story unraveling. The dark truth behind a polished facade. That was the exact emotional match for NAS Daily. We adapted that visual language. Stark vintage typography, grainy texture, a subtle treatment like newspaper headline. The final image had no graph, no arrow. It was a poster for a film about a conspiracy. And the result? The video did nearly 4 times the views of their previous channel Outliers. It worked because in a feed of screaming YouTube faces, this looked like a Criterion Collection release. It creates the cognitive dissonance that makes a scrolling brain pause. Wait, that's on YouTube? Here's the critical distinction though. You're drawing from film posters and magazine layouts, but this is still a YouTube thumbnail. Pretty pixels alone won't cut it. A stunning image that doesn't connect to the emotional core of your video will just be ignored in a different way. The viral trigger is the pattern interrupt. You hijack attention not by being beautiful, but by being cinematically unexpected while still anchored to the hook of your video. And here's where to start. Don't make a thumbnail this week. Your only job is to save 10 images that are not from YouTube and that make you feel something. A movie poster that gives you chills, a magazine that looks impossibly cool, a book cover that makes you want to know more. Build the library. Then, when you script your next video, use the system. 1. Write down one core emotional hook, not the topic. The feeling, lonely ambition, quiet triumph, or a peaceful mastery. Find the reference in the library that matches that feeling, not its literal subject. Execute with cinematic simplicity. Mood over message. That alone separates you from 99% of creators still fighting about the last war, trying to outshout each other in a race nobody's watching anymore. Most people will hear this and go right back to making arrows and red circles tomorrow. Please, don't. Build the library. The first thumbnail you will make from it will stop the scroll.